What's up, y'all? Welcome to Mr. Person TV. All right, now the word on the street is Trump is getting rid of Section 8. You know, we got a whole lot of baby mamas panicking. You know, we got to pack up all this shit and get up out of these people's house. So, you know, we got some people that's for it, some people that's against it. But we're going to look into this and find out the real details. Let's get into it.
So getting answers on a topic that could affect people using Section 8 housing programs. Voucher holders locally have received letters warning them of federal funding being halted and potential rent increases. Western Mass News reporter Matt Price did some digging for us on this, and he joins us live from downtown Springfield with more. Matt?
Chris, this just adds to the drama of so much uncertainty many face across this country. That includes those who rely on these vouchers for safe and affordable housing.
On March 13th, the Commonwealth's Executive Office of Housing and Livable Communities sent a letter to Section 8 voucher holders, warning them that their rent in the next year or two might go up because of, quote, rising costs and insufficient federal funding. And the agency will have to stop its flexible tenant policies. Here's some of what is stated in this letter obtained by Western Mass News this afternoon. It says, quote, unfortunately, we can no longer afford to offer many of these special policies to our participants, and will have to return to using many of the same policies that most other housing authorities use. The letter goes on to say, we understand that will increase costs for many households, but we made these choices to ensure that our program can serve as many households as possible given limited federal funding. Now, for context, here are some of those policy changes. EOHLC will no longer pay for a household security deposit, no more earned income deduction in rent calculation, no utility allowances for hot water and cooking, no extra grace period for lower payment standard changes, and $480 of a full-time student's income will be counted. Advocacy groups are keeping their eyes on these recent developments, including a rise for social justice here in Springfield. Housing and economic justice advocate and organizer Liz Busey says these changes will have a strongly negative impact and fears current Section 8 voucher holders are scared and are currently looking for other resources to survive.
30 days notice is not enough to try and supplement your income. And supplementing your income is going to get you in trouble because you can't, not legally anyways. And so people are going to be suffering left and right. They're already looking for food pantries. I've had 3 calls about whether we have any utility money to help people pay, and that's just this morning.
Busey says this move could also mean an increase in evictions and homelessness. She also tells us the number of people sleeping in cars at the moment is going up. Right now, a Rise for Social Justice is collecting tents in case people need to sleep outside, and they are collecting information about services in the area.
All right, now we definitely don't want the elderly or disabled people to be homeless, you know, sleeping in their cars, sleeping in tents and shit. So people who actually need the program, of course, we don't want nothing, you know, unfortunate to happen to these people. But the folks who are abusing the system, now them people, I don't feel too sorry for them folks, but we about to get into that as well.
EHOLC says the changes will go into effect on or after May 1st at the voucher holder's next regular or interim rent certification. We tried reaching out to EHOLC, EOHLC for comment on this matter, but we did not hear back. Stick with us both on air and online as we continue to follow the latest. Reporting live in downtown Springfield, Matt Price, Western Mass News.
So let me get this straight. The guy with gold toilets wants to end Section 8. So the Trump administration is now floating the idea of cutting Section 8. You know, the program that keeps grandma from living in her car or a mother with children living in a shelter. But wait, billionaires get tax breaks the size of Texas, and that's all cool. But helping people afford a 1-bedroom? Socialism. This ain't about budget, y'all. It's about punishment.
Yeah, it's definitely punishment for people who want to abuse the program. People who want to smoke weed, pop out a whole bunch of babies, and talk shit on TikTok all day.
Nothing says make America great again like making the poor homeless and building more golf courses at Mar-a-Lago. The cherry on top is some of you are actually out here cheering this on. Like you ain't got a voucher in your cousin's name and a P.O. box in your aunt's zip code. Be serious. Should your landlord be a politician too? Or should we start actually voting like housing matters? Because rich people ain't playing. They want everything.
Check this out here. Trump budget would slash rental aid by 40% and let states fill the gap if they want. I don't know about that. You got a couple of YouTubers saying that the states are not going to fill the gap. So anyway, we'll check that out. In its request for the Department of Housing and Urban Development, the White House called the current system of federal rental assistance dysfunctional and proposed essentially ending Section 8 and other housing voucher programs. Its plan calls for cutting rental aid by about 40% and sending that money to states to design their own rental assistance programs based on their unique needs and preferences. All right, if that goes into play, we're going to see how that works. Like I said, I'm not sure if the states are going to do that, but I guess we'll see. States would get more control over how HUD aid is spent and more responsibility. While the White House budget blueprint would significantly shrink federal rental aid that helps millions of people, it said states could choose to pitch in with their own funding to make sure the number of people are covered. The plan does give states more flexibility on how they can use that smaller pool of money by sending it in the form of block grants. Welfare funding works this way. Over time, however, many states have diverted much, if not most, of that money to things other than cash aid for poor families. Housing advocates noted all this would be disruptive not only for tenants, but also for the millions of landlords who receive federal rental aid.
The Trump administration recently proposed to cut the Section 8 housing program, as well as any other housing voucher program. And this came as a result of them trying to cut rental aid by 40% during a proposal that they put out. I even seen within this proposal, they said they wanted to put a 2-year cap on rental aid for able-bodied adults. So that's a cap, so people can't, I guess, take advantage of the programs. Now, of course, this is going to affect people who are, who participate in the program, who utilize the program for affordable housing, but is really going to impact as well real estate investors that utilize Section 8 program. Because you invest in certain location, it's hard for you to get your rental income. Instead of going through that path, you try to go through this program because it can kind of quote unquote guarantee your income. Well, your portfolio may be impacted by this. And this is why you got to put yourself in a position to pivot when things like this happens, because we all are subject to regulatory risk. That's why a lot of companies and stuff lobby, because they know the power of that pen. Whoever has the power to pass a law or regulation can completely dismantle your business, your portfolio, or whatever activity you're doing. So real estate investors that utilize Section 8, be prepared for this impact to your potential portfolio and make adjustments.
President Trump has put a 2-year limit on Section 8 for all of those Section 8 voucher holders. Well, not exactly. He spoke about the 2-year limit, but it has not passed. He is right now working towards eliminating the fraud and other things that's going on within the HUD program to save that program some money. Now, there has been talks about this 2-year limit, but it has not yet passed through Congress. But I cannot say that I disagree with this 2-year limit on Section 8. Section 8 is supposed to be a stepping stone for families. But there are so many people that are on Section 8 that has been on Section 8 for a lifetime, to the point to where other families don't have a chance to get that help, that assistance, and get ahead themselves. I don't think that's fair for people to stay on Section 8 for 18, 19 years and not give other families that's in need the opportunity to receive those sort of benefits. So I do not disagree with President Trump on this time limit.
Yeah, I definitely don't disagree with putting a time limit on that as well. 2-year cap for able-bodied residents. Sitting up on Section 8 for 10, 15, 20 years is despicable. Now, all of this is just a suggestion from Trump, since Congress holds authority over spending. But man, if this shit drop, I'm all for it. You know what I'm saying? Get your ass up out of there and let somebody who really needs Section 8 take advantage of it. Maybe having a husband that'll protect you and take care of you don't sound so bad after all. But anyway, y'all, that's my take. As always, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And don't forget to hit that notification bell so you get updates when I drop a video. All right, y'all. Peace.